Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolfe Pit with another episode of What Are We Eating? A while back, I tried Chunky's pizza soup that had sausage that looked and tasted like rat turds, and pepperoni that looked and tasted like corkboard. Not a good experience at all, but I always like to give second chances. So I decided to try Chunky's burrito soup, and it still had meat that looked like rat turds, but it tasted a little bit better. It wasn't a very hearty soup, a lot of broth, and not a whole lot of meat and vegetables. But the important thing was, it tasted better than the pizza soup. So Chunky was making some progress. So now Campbell's has the new Chunky MAXX soup, and I decided to try the 15.5 ounce black Angus beef and the 15.5 ounce grilled white meat chicken with bacon soups. Both cost $2.99 each. The black Angus beef has Yukon gold potatoes, portobello mushrooms, and toasted barley, and has 40% more meat. The ingredients are pretty surprising. The meat is real meat, with no added fillers or binders. There's also no added soy other than soy lecithin, which is an emulsifier which helps the water and fat mix together in the soup. But all in all, there's not a lot of garbage in the soup. The serving size is 1 cup and there's about 2 servings per container. But we all know, to most people, the whole container is going to be 1 serving. Per 1 cup serving, there's 150 calories, 5 grams of total fat, 2 grams of saturated fat, 20 milligrams of cholesterol, 650 milligrams of sodium, 400 milligrams of potassium, 18 carbohydrates, 1 gram of fiber, 2 grams of sugars, and 9 grams of protein. To microwave these, you remove the plastic cap, remove and discard the plastic seal, then replace the plastic lid and microwave on high for 2 to 2.5 minutes, then let it sit in the microwave for 1 minute. So into the microwave it goes. While our black Angus beef soup is heating, let's check out the grilled white meat chicken with bacon soup, which has grilled white meat chicken, bacon, noodles, and smoked paprika, and has 40% more meat. There's a few more ingredients in here than there was in the black Angus soup. And the one ingredient that stood out to me was carrageenan, and I hope that's the way you pronounce it. If not, I'm sure you guys are going to let me know. I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know if you guys knew what it was either. So I figured I'd do a little research and find out what it is for all of us. Carrageenan is a common food additive that is extracted from red seaweed, which is also known as Irish moss. Carrageenan has no nutritional value and has been used as a thickener and emulsifier to improve the texture of ice cream, yogurt, cottage cheese, soy milk, and other processed foods. I found it very interesting. If you guys like this type of information and want more of it, hit that like button right now. But again, just like the beef in the black Angus soup, the chicken is all chicken and nothing but chicken, no fillers. Good job, Campbell's. Again, there's about 2 1-cup servings per bowl. Per 1 cup serving, there's 160 calories, 4.5 grams of total fat, 2 grams of saturated fat, no trans fat, 40 milligrams of cholesterol, 650 milligrams of sodium, 310 milligrams of potassium, 25 carbohydrates, 1 gram of fiber, 2 grams of sugars, and 15 grams of protein. The cooking instructions are exactly the same, so let's get it into the microwave. After microwaving on high for 2.5 minutes and resting it in the microwave for another minute, our black Angus beef soup is ready. And as you can see, it's piping hot. But unfortunately, what you can't do is smell it, and it smells good. There's a lot of stuff in here, and it looks very hearty. I gave what I thought was a piece of meat a try first. But as soon as I bit into it, I quickly realized it wasn't meat. It was a big piece of portobello mushroom, and it was good. I wasn't expecting the mushroom pieces to be that big. Then I tried what I know was a piece of beef. And it was good. It had a good texture and good flavor. Next I tried a Yukon gold potato. And I actually like that they left the skins on the potatoes, but it could have been scrubbed just a little bit more. But I guess I understand how this can happen since these soups are mass produced and not made by hand and some things slip by. I'm just glad it wasn't a severed finger that slipped by. Then I got a bite of carrots, barley, and broth, as it overflowed the spoon all over my table. Everything was good. The carrots still had some texture, were sweet, and the broth was rich and savory. You can see when I'm mixing the soup, there's a nice balance of potatoes and mushrooms, but more importantly, there's also a lot of beef, which is a nice surprise for canned soup. They weren't kidding when they said 40% more meat. I finally took a bite of everything: potatoes, carrots, mushrooms, and beef, and it was all good. I was definitely impressed with this soup. But now, let's go try the grilled chicken with bacon soup before we give them both a rating. It also cooked for 2.5 minutes and rested for another minute, and it's also piping hot. And you can see this is also a very hearty soup. Lots of noodles, chicken, and vegetables. I tried the chicken first, and it was a good-sized piece of chicken. The texture wasn't nearly as good as the beef. It was a little bit mushy, and I didn't really love the flavor, but it was still decent. It actually reminded me of a giant piece of chicken that I get in a can of condensed Campbell's chicken noodle soup. Then I took a bite of noodles, carrot, and what I think was a piece of bacon. But I couldn't taste bacon at all. The texture of the noodles and carrots were good. But this soup definitely didn't have the great homemade-like flavor that the Black Angus soup did, and it tasted more like a can of soup. I tried another spoonful of noodles, chicken, and celery. And it was still pretty good. Just like the Black Angus beef soup, there was a lot of meat in this one too. And big pieces of meat at that for canned soup. I finally took a couple more bites of everything. And this soup is indeed hearty and filling, just like the beef soup, just not as good. So let's go back over both cans of chunky MAXX soups. The Black Angus beef with Yukon Gold potatoes, portobello mushrooms, and toasted barley was my favorite of the two. There was lots of real meat and big pieces of meat that were tender and tasty. The broth was rich and savory, the vegetables and barley were good. Overall, this soup was very good, hearty, delicious, and I'd definitely buy it again, which is why it gets an 8 out of 10. The grilled white meat chicken and bacon with noodles and smoked paprika wasn't as good in my opinion, but that doesn't mean it was bad. I just don't think the flavor was as good. It was just as hearty and filling as the Black Angus beef soup, just not as tasty. The beef soup had more of a homemade flavor. The chicken soup was more like what it is, canned soup. But it's still a pretty good soup for $2.99 if you want to give it a try, which is why I'm going to give it a better than average score of 6 out of 10. If you'd like to help support the Wolfe Pit, consider being a patron. You can pledge as little as $1 a month, that's only $12 for the whole year. Or you could pledge more, that's up to you. Either way, every little bit's appreciated and helps me produce more high quality videos more often for you, the people. Thank you all very much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.